Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this. Welcome. What are you drinking this morning? I am drinking my version of a London fog. So with Stephen Smith's Black Lavender, it has that vanilla in it, so I don't have to add the vanilla, but with steamed milk and organic stevia. So yes. What did you do this week? Anything fun? Um, we we just got a lot of work done. We didn't. We went out for some walks, but I don't think we haven't really. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think we really did anything this week other than going out. Did we do anything this week? No, not that I can think of. Anyways, so we're going to talk about what happens after cancer. Um, One of the whole reasons I wanted to do this was to provide resources, but also to not sugarcoat everything with cancer. You you have the raising awareness and everything, and people are excited. People who you see them at their best, or you see them when they're doing good. You don't see them when they're not doing well. Um, you see them like, yeah, I beat cancer, or yes, I'm fighting cancer, and they're at their good. But nobody, you don't see them when it's not so bad. So I just wanted to make sure, like, I just always wanted to shine a light on that. Like, it's not an easy journey. No matter what path you take, it's not an easy journey. Um, and so it's something you have to work at, regardless whether you do Eastern medicine, Western medicine, or integrative medicine. Like, it's something you have to work at. And then when you go in remission, it's not over. um, I saw a thing yesterday. It says everybody celebrates the end of treatment, but nobody talks about the damage. um, so nobody talks about the damage you're sent home with. Excuse me. So everybody celebrates the end of treatment, but nobody talks about the damage you're sent home with. Um, so those who have done Western medicine know what I'm talking about. Um, when my mother was cleared with no evidence of disease, she went in remission, no evidence of disease, and we were done, it was like our security blanket was taken away from us. We had spent many months and days at doctor offices getting tests and treatment, and the main focus and goal was getting my mom to no evidence of disease. We were never told more work was to come from the damage of the chemo and radiation. Now, granted, everyone is different. Their bodies respond differently. I consistently talk about that here. Everybody's going to respond differently to different things. You have different treatments, even if it's the same type of cancer. Everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to respond different. But we did so much to keep my mom here, to get her to remission, no evidence of disease. It was like it was literally, we kept so much to keep my mom here. It was like she started to fall apart into pieces afterwards. So we were trying to hold that glue together. And then afterwards, it was literally like she was falling to pieces. She had very powerful chemo, so much so her oncologist called it kick butt chemo. Uh, and though that was being polite about it, she eventually had to have so my mom went in remission, and then it was just kind of like, what do we do now? And then things just started happening, but it was just like little things at a time, bits and pieces of things at a time. So she eventually had to have outpatient surgery for a hiatal hernia. And that was scary enough as is, because they had a hard time getting her out of anesthesia, waking her up from anesthesia, which my mom never really had that issue before. And then she never really got back to her full energy from the chemo either, and from the chemo and the radiation, and from the fighting the cancer. Her energy never fully came back. My mom was one of these, like, though we did as much as we could to kind of keep the house up and cleaned and everything, my mom would run out of energy like midday and have to take a nap and have to do that like afterwards. And I mean, we're talking years after her chemo, and years after she went into remission. Like, it was still like that. My mom constantly had to take a nap, like on the weekends in the middle of the day, to, with everything. She was tired. But the first thing we noticed was her teeth were breaking and falling out. And now this was from the pinpoint radiation that she had gotten on the tumors in her brain. So if you know my mom's story, it was, she had a tumor here and then like a small tumor above her ear. And we did the pinpoint radiation, which got rid of this one. Most of this one, but then they went in and resected the rest of the tumor in this one. And so her teeth started falling out from the pinpoint from the radiation. So her teeth started eventually falling out. She had to have dentures, or she wouldn't have dentures for that. She ended up having to have infusion to help her bones with osteoporosis. Though her memory lost from the tumor did get better over time, but she still had her tricks to make sure it didn't affect her. So she was still, in previous videos, I talked about how my mom had short-term and some long-term memory loss from the tumors and the resection of the tumors. My mom, realizing this, she accepted it. And then she did little tricks and things to help her remember things so she wouldn't forget things. And so over time, it actually got a little bit better than what it was, but she still continued to do those tricks to make sure she didn't miss something. But let's see. She ended up having really bad headaches that eventually they came out to be like mini strokes that she was having. So yes. And all of this was just kind of like, I guess, the after effects of the chemo she went through, the radiation she went through. But all in all, like, we didn't know what to do. Like, it was done. So when I say that, when I would say, like, literally, like, all of a sudden she was in remission, it was like a security blanket being ripped away from us. After that, it was just like, what do we do? Because we were so focused on doctor's appointment, chemo, radiation, doctor's appointment, lab work, on and on, like constant, like, this is what do we do next? We got to do this. How are you feeling? What do you need to do? Like, that was our main focus. It's, literally like, getting ready for a marathon or getting ready for a sport, things like that. Like, that's what it was. That was our main thing. And then all of a sudden, oh, you're in remission. Yay. No evidence of disease. Great. And it's like, okay, what do we do now? Like, I mean, our whole life was literally evolved around my mom and getting her better. Is what do you do? Everything was built up inside of us. Like both me, my father, my mom, and now it was like we were expected to go back to normal, but nothing was normal. We had to find a new normal. So, because it was the anticipation, the dread, the worry, the closer scans got. Because as you're in remission, you have to do scans. So, to make sure that the cancer hasn't come back. It had already come back once, because from previous videos I talked about how she had lung cancer, she went in remission, and it came back and spread to her brain. So it already came back once. Will it come back again? Will this be the one time with news that we've been dreading? This was before every scan that my mom had. Everything we've heard up to this point about cancer coming back was that it comes back stronger and in full force. So you sit, you wait, you put it on the back burner between scans. But as you feel like your body is falling apart piece by piece, and more likely a lot of the side effects from your treatment, that anxiety, that worry, that dread, that thought sits on the back burner and rears its ugly head every time you get close to a scan. And then you get the results. If they're good, that cycle continues. Great. Your scans are clean. Awesome. Exciting, relief. And then it gets put on the back burner. You schedule the next one. You're fine. You don't think about it. Every now and then, your teeth are falling out. You got to do this. Okay, it's fine. You're thinking, hey, she doesn't have cancer. I don't have cancer. You're thinking these thoughts, this is a small price to pay to be cancer free, right? I can deal with this as long as my scans are clean. I got a few months before my next scans, so you put it on the back burner. The closer you get, then that anxiety starts back. It rears its ugly head, right? So the cycle continues until something may disrupt it. Now, none of it's glamorous, and a lot of it doesn't get talked about. Hopefully we can break that mold. I'm one of those people. I like to be prepared. Know what I'm getting into. Come up with a plan and help other people from my experience. A few things to keep in mind. 1, just because you are no evidence of disease or in remission doesn't mean the battle is over. It's just going to come in spots or pop-ups. Like I said, every now and then, my mom, her teeth were breaking, falling out. She got dentures. Okay, that's fine. Then later on, she had a hiatal hernia. She had to have surgery for. Okay, that's fine. Later on, she was having mini strokes. Okay, we'll put her on a, blood thinner. Okay, keep an eye on it. Little things just kept on, they would pop up a little bit at a time. So it was like a slow version of whack-a-mole, so to speak. But keep in mind, your battle is not over. If you decide to do Eastern medicine and all natural with it, remedies with it, and you go into no evidence of disease, guess what? The battle is not over. You still have to keep up that routine to keep it that way. Like this one, we got his kidney disease down. We slowed it down. And we got it to where it was like just instead of 1.5, it was 1.6. It needs to be 1.5. Like where Sean's like, are we going to stop? No, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going because we're going to get there. We're going to get that 1.5. And when we get there, we're going to maintain it. So you have to maintain it. You cannot stop. The battle is not over. Okay. It's just the battle is not over. Just because friends are in remission or done with treatment doesn't mean they still don't need help. So if you have a friend, family member, or anything that is going through this, coworker, just because they go to remission or no evidence of the disease, it doesn't mean they don't need your help anymore. After my mom went in remission, I told you about the neighbor that would bring us meals once a week. After my mom went in remission, she was bringing us meals for like 2 to 3 years after that. And we loved her for it. Like, it helped so much because it was still an ongoing battle. Even though we didn't have to fight as hard, it was still everything that was going on. So yes, it doesn't mean that that they don't still need help, right? It's an adjustment, and everything it's an adjustment, and everything is not fine, no matter what they say. Remember, we don't like to talk about it. I'm fine is the best thing we say. Because don't want to talk about it, don't want the pity party, don't want any of that. Don't like to ask for help. So when they say that everything is fine, it's not fine. So remember, we, both caretakers and people going through this journey, we don't want to be burdened on other people. 3, caretakers, make sure you're taking care of yourself and have an out during the journey because it is about it, because it's an abrupt stop. It is not really over, though you don't know when it's going to come again and in what form. I think I talked about caretakers, take care of yourself in that video. Definitely go back and watch that. I talked about how it's how I didn't take care of myself. My dad really didn't take care of himself. So literally, like, after when my mom went in remission, like, it was literally an abrupt stop. Boom. Okay, what do we do now? And I felt so much like knotted up inside of me, and I felt like just a ball of anger, anxiety, every emotion you can imagine, like, built up inside of me. And I felt like it was going to take forever to get it to stop or to work through it and get it out, release it. So make sure you find an out. You are taking care of yourself so you could take care of the other person, your loved one. Remember, you got to fill up your cup for it to runneth over to be able to help other people. Okay? All right. With that, 1, remember, take care of yourself. Don't forget that the journey is not over after you go in remission or no evidence of disease, or even stabilize your cancer. So people, they say they're thriving. So meaning their cancer is stable. And so it's not getting worse, but it's not getting better. They have it stable. I'd say one person with this, Chris Carr, is a really, really, really good example. If you go back and read up on her, read her books, she had this very rare form of cancer where she worked with some doctors and herself, but she stabilized her cancer, where it wasn't growing, but it wasn't going away. And for many years, she kept it up. and what her process, what she was doing, because her cancer was stabilized. And then after so many years, I can't remember, her tumor started to shrink just a little bit. So yes, it is a work in process, and the work is not over when the tests are done. All right, guys. Until then, go do something fun for yourself, and see you next week under the willow tree. And thank you for watching.